why they come to Capitol tonight. They get to hear about the issues, they get to hear about the people, but they get to hear in a way that's not a huge fight. It's a really good discussion.
It's about fairness, it's about trust, it's about giving both sides of the story. It's about informing our viewers on the most important things in North Carolina.
Today's winning lottery numbers are brought to you by Oxner and Permar. We make wrongs right.
Live at 7:30 on Spectrum News. More than 100 people are now suffering from Legionnaire's disease after attending the Mountain State Fair. The latest update on those cases and what Elon University is saying about the mumps cases they're monitoring. Plus, children experiencing homelessness all over the country are helped out of a center right here in Guilford County. We'll tell you about the millions of dollars of grant money aimed to help those children in need. Plus, Kursi Valley Attractions uses a new technology to plant this year's corn maze. How technology took place of traditional farming for a fun fall pastime. That is a live look right there. Yeah, that's a good way to start our Thursday. We welcome you to it. I'm Justin Quisenberry.
And I'm meteorologist Ariella Scalise.
All right. We'll get to the weather here in just a minute. But, you know, a lot of times I will post clips on Instagram of the crazy things that you do. Yesterday, by the way, if you don't visit us on social media, you should. You'll see her doing the dab accidentally. oh, we got it again today.
Purpose.
That one was on time.
Yeah.
But, you know, people are addicted to their phones now.
Is that why you're on it right now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're doing a newscast.
Right.
But there's new research that says that people can now type on their phones as quickly as they can type on a computer. Yeah, researchers looked at the speed and accuracy of about 37,000 people worldwide. They found people text an average of 36 to 38 words a minute. That's about the same as the worldwide typing average. No surprise, teenagers and preteens text the fastest.
I remember when, you know, iPhones kind of like first came out, or when I first got one, and I would be like texting, and my mom used to hate it, and she would be like, "Why you do that so fast?" I'm like, "Mom, like she types like a fiend. Like she can type so fast." And we took typing classes in my elementary school, but my texting is a lot faster than my typing, and I don't think I hold my hands correctly. Like I end up popping all over the keyboard, which is probably not the right way.
The most important class I ever took, I think, was a keyboarding class in high school. It wasn't elementary school. Back in elementary school, we had the old Apple II computers. All we played was Oregon Trail. That's the only thing that those computers could do. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. Yes, I've gotten a lot faster at this. I started out on a BlackBerry.
Yeah, and you got a lot better on Instagram with our social media. I'd like to say I had a little bit of an influence.
Yes, you've been an you've been an influencer, as the kids say.
The kids do say that. Let's take a live look outside this morning.
Let's do that.
Yeah, again, catch us on social media. We like to have a little bit of fun. That's pretty, and sometimes, you know, they involve our pretty sunrises that we see. Justin's one of his favorite parts of the morning is seeing a nice sunrise, whether that's over Greensboro, Winston-Salem. Sometimes we've got the live shots from the reporters outside, like that awesome drone shot over the corn maze. Kaylee will have more on all things fall coming up, and I will have some fall temperatures coming up. Not this morning, though. This would be cool if this was our high temperature forecast for the afternoon, but this is our temperature right now, 60s and 70s. Now, slightly cooler here, Mount Airy, North Wilkesboro, Reedsville, but normally this time of day, this time of year, you guys would be in the 40s. Certainly not seeing that. We all go up to the 90s again this afternoon, about 20 degrees above average. The record for today is 91. Tomorrow, the humidity begins to drop throughout the day. The cooler air moves in. Look at this color contrast here, the green and then the red, as that cooler air will filter in just in time for the weekend. We'll have more on the 3-day forecast coming up here in about 10 minutes.
Okay, we'll check in then. It's 7:33 right now. North Carolina health officials say a Legionnaire's disease outbreak that possibly started at a fair in the mountains spread to at least 116 people. The State Department of Health and Human Services released the data yesterday. One person reportedly died from the illness. Many of the cases are in people who attended the North Carolina Mountain State Fair in Henderson County last month. 2 more people tested positive for mumps at Elon University, bringing the total confirmed cases there to 3. The Elon News Network reports the new cases arose during family weekend. Symptoms include swelling of the ears near the jaw, fever, fatigue, and muscle aches. The MMR vaccine can prevent nearly all cases of mumps and had practically eradicated the disease in the U.S., but the illness has been making a comeback across the country with the rise of the anti-vaccine movement. The CDC reports more than 2,300 cases nationwide so far this year. A $6 million grant from the Department of Education will help fund the National Center for Homeless Education in Guilford County. The center is a research and support team for schools across the country, helping educators identify and assist students experiencing homelessness. Part of its mission is to spread the word about the resources and opportunities available.
Students are able to not only have the option to stay at the school that they've been attending, they also get transportation, they also become eligible for free lunch and any other services that are available to them.
There are 1.5 million homeless students across America. NC State suspended a faculty member over reports he said women are useless during a lecture. Tweets from at least 2 students identify the man as physics professor David Davis. One student claimed Davis ranted that women were, quote, only good to have children and support the survival of the species. Another claimed misogynistic comments like that are prevalent in the physics department. NC State says it is investigating the reports. Former Forsyth County Commissioner Everett Witherspoon Jr. is in hot water over accusations of tax fraud. The U.S. Justice Department released the details yesterday upon Witherspoon's arrest. A federal grand jury in Greensboro indicted him on 3 counts of filing a false tax return and 1 count of failing to file a federal tax return. The U.S. Attorney's Office says he did not report his county commissioner wages from 2013 through 2015, underreported his other income, and did not file a personal income tax return at all in 2012. Convictions on the charges could send Witherspoon to prison for up to 10 years. North Carolina's Attorney General is personally reaching out to seniors to give them tools to defend against scammers. Josh Stein joined a Winston-Salem detective and an anti-fraud specialist from the AARP at a town hall yesterday, sharing ways to spot and report scams. In 2018, the state Justice Department received more than 4,000 complaints related to frauds and scams targeting seniors.
Folks need to protect themselves. It doesn't matter where you are in this world. If you're walking down the street, if you're at your home, if you're on the phone, if you're using your computer, just know that there are bad guys out there trying to steal your money.
If you missed the event, you can find scam prevention tips on the NC Department of Justice website, along with information to file a complaint. It's at ncdoj.gov. The former chairman of the North Carolina Republican Party is waiting to learn how long he will spend behind bars after pleading guilty to lying to federal investigators. Robin Hayes entered the guilty plea yesterday. The Charlotte Observer reports Hayes could face up to 6 months in prison, but prosecutors will likely ask for less. Hayes is one of 4 men indicted earlier this year over accusations of trying to bribe the state insurance commissioner. Hayes must cooperate with prosecutors as part of the plea deal and possibly testify against those co-defendants. Almost 1 year after a state trooper died in the line of duty, a bill in his honor is on its way to the governor. State lawmakers gave final approval to Connor's Law yesterday. It would increase penalties for deadly assaults on police, firefighters, or paramedics. Lawmakers named the bill after Master Trooper Kevin Connor, whom authorities say an 18-year-old shot and killed during a traffic stop.
So maybe people would think twice. They see now that they do have the state legislators behind them, and we're going to support our law enforcement officers and other emergency responders while they're trying to do their jobs.
The measure also creates a $100,000 death benefit for surviving spouses or children. Families of first responders who died on the job after April 1st, 2017 would be eligible. We're live in Archdale right now at 7:38. For the first time ever, Kursi Valley Attractions in Archdale used GPS to plan its corn maze. Spectrum News reporter Kaylee Peterson, tells us about the technology's impact on this year's attraction. Kaylee, good morning.
Justin, good morning. The corn here in the Kursi Valley Corn Maze is ready for people to go through now, but growing it took some precise planning. A contractor with a GPS planting device came through this summer and laid down the seeds. It's the first time Kursi Valley has used this type of technology. The contractor with the GPS device came in early July and, much like a printer, laid down the seeds in line with the design. The corn then grows up within an inch of accuracy in the shape of the design. Because of that, that allowed for an intricate North Carolina theme this year, including an outline of the state and the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse. The co-owner of Kursi Valley says using this approach has allowed his employees to get a better understanding of the maze.
Learn the maze as it's growing, opposed to learning it last minute before we open for the season. So as it's growing, you can see the pattern. You can kind of get a good idea where you're at as the corn is growing up.
In the past, crews would wait until the corn was grown and use a tiller to cut down the corn into the shape. The co-owner says even though the maintenance to keep the grass cut takes more time, overall using this method is saving them time here at Kursi Valley. Justin, back to you in the studio.
Kaylee, it's great to see the live picture over the cornfield this morning. It looks really big. How big is that corn maze?
Yeah, Justin, in total, it's just under 2 miles of path here at the course, so plenty of options for you and the family to come out and have fun navigating your way through this maze.
All right, Kaylee, thanks very much for that. Very cool. It is 7:40 right now. Guilford County Schools partnered with Reading Connections to hold its family reading class in Greensboro. The free weekly program involves kids and their parents to sharpen reading and writing skills.
They're able to spend more time with each other and really bond as a family. And so it's really great to see, our volunteers and our teachers and our families, interacting together as part of the program.
Everyone received a free book and dinner after the class. GCS says it's still accepting people for the classes. You can sign up at readingconnections.org. Janitors, ground crews, locksmiths, and maintenance staff are rehearsing for a unique performance piece at Wake Forest University. It's called From the Ground Up. It's the university's way of spotlighting unsung heroes.
What we do is we create performances with people who we don't often hear from, people who are cornerstones to our communities, but whose work or whose stories are not often told.
You can catch the performances Friday through Sunday at 7 p.m. on Hearn Plaza. A little preview right there. The famous Lexington Barbecue Festival is just a few weeks away at this point, and organizers hosted a kickoff lunch yesterday to celebrate its 36th year. This year's festival will include an exhibit on the history of barbecue, the 2019 Barbecue Wall of Fame inductees, and the 15th edition of the Fine Swine Wine.
What an accomplishment. We're just thrilled to be able to bring this festival to life every year in honor of our world-famous barbecue heritage and keep that special vibe alive, and because that is what we are known for. Of themselves.
Well, the festival is Saturday, October 26th on Main Street in Uptown Lexington. Time now is 7:42. We want to turn things over to Ariella, and a reminder for people, our team will be out there all day, so we hope everybody will come out and get a chance to meet us.
Come see that we're actually this weird in person today.
You said it, not me.
Yep. It will be a fun event. There's so much to look forward to in October. Unfortunately, this hot start, but we do have changes on the way as we head into our first weekend of October, and then from that time forward, it looks like finally we're into a fall pattern. It feels like the season by the time we get to the weekend. Now, we do have some more comfortable spots. Oh, now my camera shows up. Let's see if we can get back to, no. Okay, a really pretty background this morning into Winston-Salem. 63 in North Wilkesboro right now, 60 in Mount Airy, 72 in Winston-Salem, 62 in Reedsville, 70 in Greensboro. So some coolish spots this morning with the lower 60s, but normally this time of year, we should be in the 40s and 50s, and we're in the 60s and 70s. So already starting 20 degrees above normal. And we'll easily get to 20 degrees above our high temperature this afternoon, forecasting a high of 96. So far this year, the hottest day we've had was 96 back on July 17th. Now, that would not be really out of the question to get the hottest day in July, but in October, that would certainly be very rare, and it could be possible later today. We do have a cold front farther back to our west here, and that is breaking up the cold air versus the hot air that we're dealing with. And where those two air masses meet, that's where you're seeing those storms pop up this morning. And we're not, unfortunately, going to see any rain the next couple of days, so continue to water the potted plants, maybe run the sprinkler. The heat, the lack of rain has certainly taken a toll on some of my favorite plants that I keep outside, but certainly continue to water them as you see fit here. By the time we head into early next week, we will see the rain return. I probably should have just bought a cactus at this point. As we head into Friday, 86, so kind of our transition day here. And then as we head into Saturday, picture perfect fall weather. 70 degrees, a little bit warmer on Sunday, 76, but overall still pleasant. We'll have more on the 7-day forecast coming up in about 10 minutes.
All right, you got a Venus flytrap, isn't that what you got?
Yes, and it is flourishing. It's doing very, very well, and it's actually caught some flies. It's pretty cool. Circle of life in my house.
All right. Now I have that song stuck in my head. 7:44 right now, coming up on Spectrum News. Thousands of people attend a community fundraiser for a paralyzed North Carolina trooper. We'll bring you a look at the event and what the trooper had to say about it. And a Pitt County man wins an unusual lawsuit after finding out about his wife's affair. Find out how the man won a $750,000 judgment. As we head to break, here's a live look over some train tracks there in Archdale. That's out there near that corn maze that we just showed you a few minutes ago. We'll be right back after this. If you're waking up and you're watching Spectrum News, I hope that you'll get a sense of what you missed overnight and also of what you can expect throughout the day. And maybe we can even give a smile along the way.
In the morning, when people are watching the weather, then they can, set the coffee and go and they can watch the weather for 3 minutes and they have what they need for the day.
So this is my community. This is where I live. I care about schools, about what's happening right here in the Triad.
Your morning news, weekdays 5 to 9 on Spectrum News, exclusively on Spectrum.
In Focus is a weekly show. We zero in on one topic each week and make sure that you walk away understanding it. Our world is changing really fast, technologically, culturally, politically. We know that it's a lot to keep up with, so we want to talk to the experts, to those folks affected by it, and make sure that you understand what's happening.
In Focus with Loretta Beniti, Sundays at 11:30 a.m. and 8:30 p.m. on Spectrum News, exclusively on Spectrum.
It seemed so long ago that I was, sitting in my 5th grade class thinking, oh, that would kind of be a cool job. Being able to talk to people outside of their living room, not on a TV screen, I think it makes that connection stronger. I did spend so much time being a gymnast, being a cheerleader, that after work, I can't wait to work out, or when I'm working out, I'm thinking about work, and they both kind of keep my energy level high. I do love my job. It is so rewarding. I think I'm very lucky. I'm Ariella Scalise, meteorologist, Spectrum News.
As we go through a 30-minute show, we're always taking it to the paint. We're going to be flying high. We're going to punch it in for 6, because that's what we do. Think about it. We cover the great teams across our state with our great team. You're just like us. You're passionate about sports, and so are we. You deserve more than 3 minutes a night. That's why we serve up 30 minutes a night each and every night. And we are going to be doing everything we possibly can to bring you the sports news that you want.
Chevrolet Sports Night, nightly at 10:30, only on Spectrum News, exclusively on Spectrum.
A trooper received support from his community after a crash on the job left him paralyzed. Trooper Christopher Wooten attempted to pull over a driver in Charlotte in July when a truck hit his motorcycle. Yesterday, Ray Nathan's Barbecue in Cramerton held a fundraiser for Wooten's family. A friend says the event shows how much love the community has for him.
He's amazed that people care so much.
Trooper Wooten and his wife are in Atlanta at a rehab hospital. They sent a statement saying, quote, "We would like to thank everybody for their support, for all the volunteers and community coming out to help us. It's very humbling and overwhelming to see how many people care for our family. We can't begin to express how much it means to us."
Good morning, everybody, and happy Thursday. I'm meteorologist Ariella Scalise. The extreme October heat continues. We are smashing another record high temperature as we go into the afternoon, but relief is on the way. It's going to be here before we know it. We'll take a closer look at our temperature trends as we wrap up the week and head into the weekend. That's coming up next.
It is so nice to meet the people who are watching us because they invite us into their living rooms every day.
Being out in the community, you get to talk to the viewers, and I like to ask them, what do they want to see?
When I'm sitting at the anchor desk, I can think about the people I've met out in the community. I can think of friends, neighbors, what stories they want covered, and what's important to them.
I feel like I'm talking to friends, and that makes you want to be better.
This is Community. This is Spectrum News, exclusively on Spectrum.
Here in the Triad, the weather is always changing. Working together as a team makes it easier to take complex meteorology and turn it into a simple forecast so the viewers at home can understand. As a 24/7 news channel, that gives us the ability to break in with weather coverage whenever we need to and for as long as we need to. So you can learn how the weather that's happening now is going to impact your neighborhood.
Weather on the Ones, only on Spectrum News. All day, every 10 minutes, exclusively on Spectrum.
When I was younger, I worked at a greenhouse, and learning how the weather impacted those plants sparked my interest in meteorology. And now I've taken that and expanded on that knowledge, and now applying how weather impacts an entire region is what I'm focused on now. I think the thing that I love about the weather the most, in the Triad specifically, is seeing how beautiful it can be. Just spending that family time enjoying the weather is, one of the most important things and one of my favorite things to do.
Capitol Tonight is the place to help you understand what's going on in this state. I think people are tired of all the bickering and all the stories about nonsense, and I think that's why they come to Capitol Tonight. They get to hear about the issues, they get to hear about the people, but they get to hear in a way that's not a huge fight. It's a really good discussion.
It's about fairness, it's about trust, it's about giving both sides of the story, it's about informing our viewers on the most important things in North Carolina.